there's no issues or nothing like that. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, let me find my lever. I've never adjusted this chair. I don't know. I'm halfway afraid to, no, that didn't do it. I'm halfway afraid to do anything because I'm afraid it's going to throw me out of the chair. I've almost fallen out of this chair once, and Noelle almost did as well. But anyway, if you guys don't care about that, be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. I had this question. It's Ask Her Shinoe. And it says, I'm not sure if my girlfriend is racist. And goes in to say, I want to first say that this is the first time I've ever dated someone who is white, and my girlfriend has never dated someone who is black. My girlfriend's from a very small town in the state that we live in. He doesn't mention the state. And to be honest with you, I've never dated anyone other than black girls. He mentions that I'm 24 years old, have a great job, and doing pretty well. One day my goal is to obviously move to a place like Tacoma, but for now I'm just trying to level up. You always seem to have really good advice, and I wanted to know what to do about this situation. As I mentioned, I'm 24. I've only dated black women, never dated anyone other than that. And while I've had a series of issues with black women, I decided to date a white girl. This is not to say that all black women are bad or anything like that, or that one's better than the other. It's just that based on my experiences, I've had a lot of issues. So I decided to try to date a white girl to see if that would be different. And it has. She's actually been amazing. But there is one potential issue. To give a backstory on her, she never dated anyone other than white guys before. She dated one guy who was part Mexican, but other than that, that was it. Since dating her, I find that she is someone who's always interested in, everything I have to say. Great person overall, really nice. She's feminine, fit, and attractive, as well as friendly, even cooperative. She's a 100 out of 100. However, I've noticed some changes recently. After dating for a while, I started to take her around my friends, and my friends can be a little loud and a little raucous. I can't say it. Raucous? Whatever. And my friends often use the N-word. These are my black friends. We grew up together. It's just what they say. And my girlfriend had never said that before. In fact, she was concerned going to meet all of my friends because A, it's meeting my friends, but B, she's never been around that many black people before at one time. She wasn't scared. She was just nervous that she would not be able to be socially, I don't know what that is, but I assume you meant that she didn't want to be awkward. So once we were there, she was laughing and joking, and I noticed that she started to say the N-word herself. Now, no one there really cared or paid much attention. Let me make sure that my sound is all right. Okay, that's the right sound, because otherwise that would have sucked. I did this whole thing in the wrong sound. But anyway, she started to use the N-word here and there with the A at the end. Now, I didn't say anything. My friends, both male and female, didn't really say anything. They thought, whatever, not a big deal. And later on that afternoon when we went home, we didn't talk about it. I wanted to, but I was a bit nervous. And it seemed like she was a bit awkward. So fast forward a few weeks later, and we're hanging out with my family and some of their friends and some neighbors that I grew up with. They're all black. And my girlfriend got introduced to everybody. And again, once she had a couple of beers, she was a little bit more freer and started to use the N-word again. Now, around a few people, no one really seemed to care or notice, but there were some people that gave her a look and gave me a look. This is a long email, everybody, so bear with me. But I felt like I read it a couple of times prior to this, and I wanted to read most of it here. He says, again, I didn't really discuss this topic with her because I felt it was a little bit strange. One time I noticed that when we were making love, she started to use that word again, but not with the A, but with the ER part, and sometimes interchanging it out. He goes on to say that afterwards we did have a conversation, and I said, I noticed that you started using that. Why? And her statement was that she thought that it was socially okay because she is with me, and that she didn't think that no one would have a problem with it. No one said anything. She asked if I had a problem with it, and I said, you got to be careful with where you use that word, because not everybody is going to be accepting of that automatically. And just because you're with me doesn't mean that that is okay. He went on to say that I may get in trouble for this, but I don't mind being called that during uh, relations. He doesn't mind being called that when they're doing stuff. He said, however, it was a little uncomfortable with her saying that in public to people, in front of people, and I was a bit concerned about that. I don't think around my friends it's really that big of an issue, but I do think that it is a problem when it involves my family. He's like, I haven't talked to my family about that, but obviously they're a little bit different in terms of how they view it. I did talk to a female friend of mine who was not at any of these events, and she said that she felt like that my girlfriend's a racist, and that this is kind of what they, meaning white girls, do, is they get with black men and then they use that word. What are your thoughts? What should I do? I'm a little concerned because I didn't think that this type of thing would happen, but now I'm afraid that this is how all white girls will be if I were to date them. Help. There's other stuff in there and things like that. Shows pictures of them and all of that. And he goes on to say that now it's something that she is more frequently says, because there's a friend of his that was part of that loud raucous, I can't say that word, raucous group, and his girlfriend's white, and of course she was saying all those things. And so now it's kind of like she just feels like this is just normal. And so she says it all the time in front of him. Well, so that's what kind of the rest of the email is saying. I skipped over that part because it talks about other stuff that has really nothing to do with this. Here's my take on it. No, I don't think that obviously, not every white woman that gets involved with a black dude thinks that saying that word is appropriate or correct or any of that. There are many, most are against it, right? The vast majority would probably, who date black dudes, are completely against it, right? There are some, however, who, when it involves some sort of a sexual type of thing, there are some black dudes that will excuse that and say, well, it's a little different. It's a role play fantasy, fetishy type of thing, so it's a little different. There's a vast chunk of black dudes who, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, they're not cool with it. There are some, depending upon the circumstance, where they view it as okay because she's with you. It's all right. She's not, dressing up as a Klansman saying it. So that's the thing, right? The black people are not a monolith. They're not going to all think the same, and that's kind of the situation that she has to understand. I can expand my screen and see better now. That not all black people are a monolith, right? And not all couples and I've heard some black women who are against black men dating white women who will say that, well, they are okay with them saying that, and that's why they get into relationships with them. That's not true. That's not true. Because there's actually a lot of black women who are completely okay and never hide behind the fact that they're okay with white men calling them that, right? That you can go online and see people who literally talk about this openly. There's a lot of black women who talk about it openly. So that's not true. There are some people, for whatever reason, they don't have a problem with that based on certain settings, right? Based on certain circumstances. There are other people where it's a no-go. It doesn't matter what race they are, it's a no-go, right? I don't necessarily think that your girlfriend's a racist or a bigot. What I think it's more of a situation of is trying to assimilate into a different subculture, right? Because I think that within America, there's all these different cultures, but there's also subcultures. And if your friends come off as being loud and whatever, then she probably thinks, this is okay. If I were to say this here, this is okay. One time I went to a club here in Tacoma. And it was a mostly predominantly black club. If you go to this club, more than likely, either A, you're black, right? Or B, you're someone who dates black people, whether it be black women or black men. Typically. That's not always 100% of the case, but I would say 90% of the clientele are going to be black people, right? So it's kind of a safe assumption that more than likely a lot of the people you see there, that's the case. Like a lot of the women you see and a lot of the men. There are some white dudes that go there and other races of men that go there looking for black women. And you see a lot of Asian women there, a lot of Hispanic women and other races of women who are there along with black women because it's a place where you see a lot of black people hang out. And the music is great. The drinks are strong. So that helps. People like it for many different reasons, right? But when I was there, there was a chick at the bar getting a drink. And so I was behind them, and then one of the bartenders was like, come on up, get beside this chick and order your thing. So I do that, and I'll order my thing, and then while they're making it, this chick just struck up conversation saying like, oh, this place is great, I really like it and everything, but, nobody really wants to talk, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, because it's loud, and this is probably the reason why. So, they bring my drink and everything. And so then the chick is like, yeah, but N-words don't really want to talk to me and everything. And, I really want to try to, get to know them, everything, blah, blah, blah. Right? So I just looked at the chick and basically just shook my head and said, I don't know, and left. Right? I'm the type of person where I often feel like people try to test you to see what your reaction is. And back in the day, things would be different. But nowadays, it's like I have so much to risk that I really think about a situation. And I don't think that this chick was being mean or being a bigot, right? I don't think that's the case. I think, again, similar to your circumstance was you had someone who really doesn't have a whole lot of black friends probably and is trying to be cool and go into a club, and in order to feel comfortable, she thinks that, since I'm here, people think I'm cool with them, so I'm okay to say this, right? And that's just not absolutely the case. There are going to be some who you're going to face a massive amount of issues, right? You'd easily get beat up in a place like that. I've seen people fight and stuff because of nonsense. And so you're taking a high risk. It's not something that I would advise. Know your audience, right? And that type of word is enough for someone to really do a lot of harm to you. Go to the right person and they don't have nothing to lose, or even if they do have something to lose, some people will just go ahead and let you know how they feel, right? Get you a couple of knuckle sandwiches. So that's the circumstance. Now, do I think that she was malicious or trying to evoke something out of me? No, I don't think that, right? I don't think that. I think that her situation was, I feel like, hey, I'm a part of everything here. I'm open-minded. So, of course, I can't be a bigot, right? I think in this circumstance, you had someone who was trying to fit in and felt like this was acceptable. No one said anything. So felt like, okay, then, this is normal. Then again, nobody said anything, even including yourself. You didn't say anything, right? And you can't really get mad at a person whenever you didn't say anything to begin with. It doesn't seem like you're upset about it. It's more or less, well, you're more worried about, is this person a bigot? And I don't want to necessarily be involved with someone who's a bigot. And I understand that. I don't know the person's intentions or heart or anything like that. I don't know any of that. But based on what you're saying, I wouldn't necessarily say that she is a bigot. But I do think that if it's something that you're not comfortable with, the best thing to do is to be able to talk to them. I don't think that breaking up with this person is necessarily what I would do either. But I would also say that from based on your concerns, with my family, that's not something that they're cool with at all. My family and friends are completely different, right? That just because you're with me doesn't mean that you automatically get a pass. I hate that term. A pass. Doesn't mean that you are able to just say and do whatever you want to do and think it's okay. It's just it isn't, right? Some people think that just because you date or have relations with someone that you can't be a bigot or a racist, and you can be. You can even have children by someone of a different race and be racist. That doesn't stop you from being a bigot or a racist, right? It doesn't. Some people think that. I've heard that many a times where people will say some stuff that's just not good and then throw out that word and say, well, I can't be. I mean, look at my boyfriend or look at my wife, right? And it's like, that doesn't, so, based on your behavior, based on what you said, you're a bigot, right? And I've seen a lot of that. In fact, there have been a lot of black women who talk about they've dated white dudes for the first time, and that is thrown about, and they're shocked. Now, that doesn't mean that every white dude that you date or dates black women are going to be saying that, but that's very common. There are a lot of people who, unfortunately, I think it's more common with white dudes saying that than with white women saying that. I just, based on the way I've been raised and what I've seen and all of that, I think it's more common. I think that for women, it's not. There are some people who are completely against saying the word. There's some people who they don't have much of an opinion with it. They think it's a bad word, but it's not like that they would never ever say it, right? There are some people who think that this is just the most vile thing ever. And so I think with her, justice, I think with her, she needs to understand that this is not something that should be played around with. But what I was going to say is that I think that the adult film industry has made this a little different. Nowadays, men and women watch adult films, and I'm not going to say equally because it's not, but there are more and more women who watch adult films than in the past. In the past, it's kind of a guy's thing. Women didn't really get down with that type of stuff. Nowadays, you see a lot of women who watch this and they think that this is reality. And there's dudes that obviously think that adult films are reality, and they're not. So I think that they watch certain films where this type of stuff is, now I'm not going to say common, but it's more common than in real life. And they end up thinking that this is normal. That's why during relations, she was saying it because she thought that it was completely normal, right? So I think that there are going to be some people who are going to have a whole lot of opinions down in the comment section, and that's completely fine, right? Me, on the other hand, before I lob bigot or racist on someone and stamp them, so I think that once you got that stamp, you got that stamp. You may change your ways, but you still got that stamp. It doesn't change. But it's a heavy, heavy accusation. I don't necessarily think that that person is a bigot or a racist at all. I think that they're just stupid. And sorry that I called them stupid, but I just think that they're stupid and naive. I think that part of it is that they're trying to fit in, but they're doing it completely wrong. That's not. It's kind of like saying that in order to get to know black people, you got to know basketball. In order to get to know black people, you got to know soul food, and that's just stupid, right? Or you got to know rap, or you got to be yo, bro. What's up, brother? I hear a lot of white dudes call me that. They think that that's a way to connect with you. They'll realize, just like them, they're a human being, and there's ways to say hello. My name is such and such. But that's going to get you a lot farther than, hey, bro, what's up, girl? It's just silly to me. But and I know a lot of black dudes who will say that's how their interactions are with some white dudes, like, hey, brother, hey, what's up? But yet when they're talking to their white friend, it's completely different. It's not the same way. That's not how, and of course, obviously, black people can see the difference. They can tell the difference. We talk about it like, why are you being so weird? Why is that guy being so weird? He's trying to fit in, or he's trying to get to know us, and that's not the way that you do it. I had a white guy went to the bathroom, trying to use the bathroom, and as I'm using the bathroom at the urinal, this white guy comes right up. There's plenty of other stalls open. Comes right over and says, hey, my name is such and such. And I just looked at his hand. I'm shaking your hand at the urinal. So then he was like, I wonder why black guys here at this place don't even want to say hi. I'd like to have a friend who's black. And his dad was in there too. And his dad was like, you weird. And so his dad was like, I was telling him that, maybe it's the way that you're coming off. It's kind of strange. So they don't know how to react to that. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So I'm like, this is weird. Like I'm in the bathroom and you're trying to. So anyhow, I kept on saying like, whatever. Like, I don't know why you're having that issue or why do you need to have a black friend. I think the way that you made friends with white guys is going to be the same as making friends with black dudes or Asian dudes or Hispanic dudes. It's not going to be anything different. But again, you have someone who's stupid, right? And I get maybe, and had a lot to drink. Maybe it was that he truly felt like, you know what? I want to be able to have people of all races be my friend and to be able to hang out with different groups of people. I get that. I do too. There's a proper way to do that. And I think with your girlfriend, the biggest issue that you have, it seems, is with your family. And I understand that because different generations, different groups of people, even within the same racial group, are not going to understand. For some, this is the red line and that she done stepped over it. For some, they're going to sit and call you every name in the book if you stay with it. I don't necessarily agree always with that, right? I don't always necessarily agree. Unless there's a lot of stuff you're leaving out. Based on this, it just seems like you have someone who is very much extremely comfortable, right? And so if there's someone who's open-minded, and you seem to say that they are, because you mentioned the speaking points of Kevin Samuelson. Fit, friendly, feminine, and cooperative, right? If she's all those things, and that's something that is very appealing to you, that's what should really and truly matter. Because at the end of the day, if you were to marry someone, I always look at dating people as if, would I marry this person? Right? If it's a no-go, and I'm never going to probably marry someone like this, it's whatever. I just kind of let the relationship fizzle and do its thing, however it's going to do it. But if it's someone who I feel like there's a lot of potential and that it could go into marriage, I definitely try my best. I try my hardest because I want to make sure that I continue this relationship, and I want to make sure that it's a reciprocal type of thing. It seems like on that aspect that this is a great person. I just think that overall, and no, it's not common that this is something that's done in every single interracial relationship, whether it be black dude with a white chick or other race, or whether it be a white dude with a black chick or a black woman with any other. I'm not saying it's common in any of those. Is it something that does happen? Yes, it does. Are there people who are bigots who date people of other races that they're bigoted towards? Absolutely. There was a situation here in Tacoma where a black woman was with a white guy, and he ended up trying to stab a black dude at a bar here and went outside and was using the N-word like it was nothing, right? ER and all. And yet the chick was trying to get him back into the car and to be quiet and blah, 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 blah. Right? It seems like more of a true racist bigot situation there. You see what I'm saying? Like it seemed like that person, because they're using a hateful term in anger towards someone and literally is trying to create violence. You see what I'm saying? So to me, that person in their heart is a true racist. And probably she's being overly fetishized. You, on the other hand, I don't necessarily, some people will probably say she's using you as a fetish. I'm not even going to go that far and say that. I don't know enough details to say that. But I think that there are some people who really, really think. So I've been sent videos and stuff that will make your hair curl. People send me stuff all the time. I don't post about it. But I see the videos they're talking about where there's a lot of chicks who are paid to say these things, obviously. But do I think those women who are in the adult film industry who say those things to black dudes are racist? No, I don't. I don't think they're bigots. I think because you have to look the same way you do movies. Quentin Tarantino movies. Now, Quentin Tarantino, I may have some questions about. But when it comes to, Mel Gibson saying it, or, well, not Mel Gibson, I think that he is. Don Johnson said it, Leo DiCaprio, some of these other people, they have said that word in movies all the time. It's no different than when there's an actress in an adult film industry that's doing the same thing. It's no different. They're being paid to say it. They're being paid to act out something that's not real. Unfortunately, there are people who believe movies are real, right? Gone with the Wind created a whole bunch of issues for the black community because people really, that film basically energized the Klan, who was dying out. It energized that. Created a whole lot more issues too, in terms of especially black men, right? So people somehow, for some reason, believe that movies are the way that it is. And that's not necessarily the case. I've had a few people write in about this particular topic. And some of them are saying, is this something I should be concerned with? I think that the concern should be whenever, this circumstance is a little different. I think the concern should be, for some, it doesn't matter. If someone utters anything, you're done, right? But I've had other folks who will say, I don't know what to think, because there's no other aspect of them that comes off that way. I think that when a person uses that word in anger, let's say they're in a relationship with you and they use that in anger towards you, then that's when I would definitely bounce out of that relationship. Because obviously at the core of it all, that's what they think of you. But if it is a situation like yours, I don't necessarily think that that person's a bigot or in their heart there's some sort of hatred. I think they're just naive and dumb. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm someone who, again, words don't really, when I look at people, I look at flaws. And to me, everybody has major issues and flaws. And until you're God, I can care less what somebody thinks or says or speaks or feels about me. I don't really care. That doesn't mean that you won't face action, right? Doesn't mean that you won't face action. But it means that I really and truly don't allow someone to rent space in my head. I don't allow for someone to control my actions based on words that they may try to use to provoke me. You see what I'm saying? So because I come from that mindset that I don't want someone to have control over me, they can say whatever they want to say and they know they're going to get a reaction out of me. I don't allow someone to have that type of control over me. So for me, I view it a lot differently than others. Some people may, we'll see. We'll see. What are your thoughts? Please definitely put your comments down in the comment section below. As always, join the Discord. We talk about a ton of different things. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and of course, as I said, comment. What are your thoughts? What do you think in this particular circumstance? I have some people that often comment when it comes to things like this. I'm curious as to what their thoughts are. What are your thoughts about this particular situation, right? Not necessarily talking in general, but just this particular situation involving him and his girlfriend. And until next time, I will see you. Take care. Gotta get ready for the Super Bowl.